Kia ora.
Yeah, trip to the vaccine because
You look like you're sat in the back alley somewhere.
if there's anyone out there who thinks that we're not dedicated to this podcast, they can suck a fat willy because I'm sitting outside in New Zealand. It's not a terribly cold time of year, but it has been. Like today's like the first, every year there's like the first day of the year where it's like, oh, season's changed. Today was that fucking day. So I'm all in, Finley.
I love it. How's your time over there been?
Yeah, good, man. Good. Chasing a few waves. Had one good day yesterday at an undisclosed location. But yeah, we're in 2 RVs or camper vans, whatever you want to call it, wherever you're from. Driving around North Island, New Zealand for a billabong shoot. And it's been, lots of fun. Lots of stinky farts in the close quarters though. But yeah, it's been good. And someone just did a burnout behind me. So it's all fucking at me.
How was Leno's birthday? Any happenings or pretty mellow?
No, it was mellow, super mellow. We had such a big day surfing. And when you just surf all day and you're in the sun, everyone was cooked, and we kind of knew, like, if you only have 1 or 2 beers, you're pretty fried after that. So we went to a local watering hole, had a few beers, and sang happy birthday over a waffle. So yeah, pretty tame. But I reckon he'll rip in this weekend at the ABB. I reckon that's the plan.
Mate, we'll get stuck right into it because we've got a huge episode. There's so much to talk about. First of which, let's just quickly go over roughly what happened today in the QS event in Phillip Island. It was taken out by Alistair Reginato on the men's side. He beat Tully Wiley, who gets second place for the second year in a row at the event. I think last year he actually needed to make the final to qualify. This year he couldn't qualify no matter what, but he still had a really good showing at the event. Alistair was just tearing the house out. I don't know if you caught any of this.
I caught 0 of it, but I'm not surprised. Alistair's been on a tear lately. He came down to Lennox. I saw him surfing the point not long ago, and then I actually saw him out at D-Bar, and fucking hell, he's probably one of the best surfers without a sticker on the nose at the moment.
Crazy, man. It's like not sneaky air guy, because he does a lot of them, but the ones he seems to land in competition seem to always be huge. He did one in particular today that was massive, and then he just does these really like jerky airs out into the flats, which look just awful on the knees, but he always seems to land them. So it was really good to see him come through. He actually needed a result here. I believe he needed to make the semis to qualify for the Challenger Series, which he has obviously done. We'll run through the rankings quickly on the men's side, and then we'll get into the ladies. So Reeve Hazelwood, he nailed it this year. He smoked everyone, so he's going to be on there. Lennox Smith came in at second place at the end of the day. Just watching on lazily from New Zealand. Didn't even have to lift a finger for this one. He was already locked in.
That's pretty mic droppy. That's pretty like OG. Like someone even said that. I was over here for a Billabong comp as well, like a Grom comp. And one of the event organisers was, I think it was Ben Kennings actually. Shout out to Ben. He's like, oh, Leno, not even batting an eye at that event. I'm like, nah, he's already in. He's all good. But it still would be pretty, like, I don't know. You'd be like, fuck, I've done my mathematics right. Like, maybe there's a chance, but no, he was all good.
He was locked and loaded. Then we go to third place, Caleb Tancred. Fourth place, Harley Walters. Fifth place, Dane Henry. Sixth place, Alistair Reginato. And then on the cutoff in at seventh is Xavier Huxtable. Bit to play out here, though, because Dane Henry's actually been given a wild card via his WSL World Junior World title win. So he's actually locked in, and Xavier Huxtable's looking pretty good to re-qualify through the Challenger Series. So potentially 2 more spots could open up. A few things to play out, though. I was talking to another QS surfer who was saying that the rankings differ. So the ranking position that Dane will get from his world title will actually change or will be different to the one he's got here. And I guess it's in his best interest to take whichever ranking is higher. So if he takes the World Junior wildcard, that will be that will open up another slot. But if he doesn't, then that slot will remain for him. Xavier looks to be in a similar scenario, although I'm not sure how that stacks up on the Challenger Series, whether that's going to be a higher ranking for him. You'd imagine it would be based on the higher level of competition. But yeah, Ben Lawrenson in at 8th and Jarvis Earl in at 9th, who snuck in. He just, if he didn't have that injury this year, you'd have to imagine he was a shoe-in for the top 7. But he's still in with a sniff, providing those 2 wildcards go his way. But just a little bit to play out there. On the ladies' side, Lucy Dara just blitzes it again, takes out the final, beats Anon Matsuoka. Obviously, this is a dual sanction event, so you had the Asian surfers from that region in the event too. So on the ladies' side, we had qualifying in first place Lucy Dara. So she actually won 2 QS 6000s this year and a QS 4000. So you can't really do too much more than that. She nailed it. Isla Huppert's in its second, who I believe similarly to Dane's going to have the option here, although given she had a second place result on the QS, you'd imagine that's a pretty high ranking in terms of where she's going to be seated next year. Charlie Haitley in at 3rd, Ziggy Aloha Mackenzie in at 4th, and then on the bubble there at 5th, who may or may not get in, depending on what Isla does, is Taylor Green. So yeah, a little bit to play out there also. But that's pretty much your top 7 and your top 4 are already locked in, and then we may see a couple extras.
What are you thinking, Finley? Is Isla and Dano actually going to take it, or are they going to cook someone and steal the WSL one? Well,
yeah,
sorry, opposite. Are they going to use their already qualified spot and hand over the WSL one to, you'd think, does it go to second place getters at Worlds?
I don't know what will happen there. I don't know whether the WSL gets given back the authority over that, or whether it does just go to the next seeded surfer. You'd just imagine it's going to be case by case, whoever's going to benefit more from taking that wild card. If Dane's going to be better off taking his 5th position on the Australian QS rankings, then you'd think he'd do that. Although maybe he's just going to be like, hey, like I've got one. Let's get Benny in. You know what I mean? We'll see what happens there. Same on the girls' side. But that's basically how it all played out today at Phillip Island. The waves were pretty fun to begin with today. They kind of deteriorated towards the end of the day, and it's pretty much Reg and Tully were going toe to toe in the final, and he didn't need a huge score. Tully at the end, he only needed a mid-3, but just the ocean went quiet on him, and he wasn't able to get it. So that's the first part of this pod. The second part, which has been hotly debated this week, there's been a lot of criticism online, you'd call it, a lot of controversy, stab in the dark X wrapped up, featuring Kelly Slater. Obviously we both know who won now, and spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, maybe skip the next part of the pod, but I'm sure most people know by now.
Can I jump in, Finley?
Yes.
Is it still behind paywall? Are we about to get banned from Stab forever?
Well, I think it's always behind a paywall, isn't it?
So maybe we don't blast it then.
Well, it's all over Instagram.
Oh, I haven't been on anything for the last 2 days.
It's all in the comment section of Instagram. If you want to skip it and watch it first, then maybe skip the next 10 minutes or so and then come back to this after you've watched it. But it's been pretty hot property on Instagram this week and on social media because the person who won was actually the surfboard manufacturer that Kelly Slater is like a major shareholder in, and the main team.
That's what that is. Big old.
Yeah, I went on the Instagram and under our account, and I spoke for you on behalf of you as well in doing this, because we both obviously have that account. My theory behind this is that essentially Dan Mann has the least to gain from winning this competition and the most to lose. If he enters a board in the competition, Kelly writes it off, that's a pretty bad look for the brand, regardless of what happens. If Kelly chooses the board to win, which was actually what happened, it's put down as a false win because everyone automatically assumes it's a sort of underground job, and they've set it up for success. So I don't see the reason why there needs to be like all this. I get the speculation online, people going like, "Oh, of course he won," but it's just it makes complete sense that the guy who shapes boards for Kelly most of the time is going to know him back to front and is going to know what board he's going to like, and Kelly's going to jump on it, and sure enough, he's going to enjoy riding it. So, look, to me, I don't think it's like a conspiracy theory. I think it's sweet. The only thing that maybe like, because I'm not you're quite a conspiracy theorist. I'm sort of not. I like to swing the other way. Um, but the only thing that kind of gets me a little bit sort of suspicious is that the fact Kelly picked that board up and didn't know it was a Dan Man. I, I just don't know if I can believe that. The amount of boards he's handled and looked at in his lifetime and in the last, I don't know, 10 years or so since he's been heavily invested in this company, uh, I just can't. I don't know if I believe that he couldn't tell that it was a Dan Man. That's the only thing that I'm a little bit skeptical of.
I think everyone's kind of thinking the same. Yeah, a bit to unpack here. Firstly, the real winner is Stab, if you ask me, because Dan the Man winning his own TV show is a bit like, oh, surprise, surprise. The real winner is Stab, and how those guys actually brought so many like underlying stories come to life. I feel like that's what actually captivated the audience because number one, the surfing was like, there was that one D-bar session was pretty good. But other than that, like the waves that they got, I know they probably had a pretty short window. I think it was only 10 days after listening to that podcast that Dane and Stab did with Kelly. It sounded like 10 days in May last year, which is always going to be tricky. So yeah, the surfing was a bit hit and miss at times. The winner is a bit, yeah, great. No, like you said, like I think a lot of people are underwhelmed there, but the amount of stories and the characters that come out of this, like you'd have to think all of those guys have now just got an extra 1,000 followers on their Instagram accounts just by going, I gravitate towards that guy. I gravitate towards that shaper. For me,
Yeah,
like Darren Hanley there's not a chance that he hasn't just got and accumulated another 10,000 followers. He's like I don't know, just like the Lennox Smith of the QS, like just out there to be like, nah, fuck it, nah, shit, nah. Or like just has that opinion. And it's so refreshing to see because, the surf industry is obviously pretty reserved sometimes and polite to just have someone go out there and be like, nah, that's fucked and nah, that's sick and whatnot. I think, that all those little things and I actually really liked Brit's storyline. I don't think many people would even know that existed and it just happened to come out through this project. So in a roundabout way, Stab and the staff at Stab won Stab in the Dark X.
yeah, yeah. It was look, full props to them for making it happen. They made it very clear how difficult at times it can be to work with Kelly Slater. He's a man that is extremely busy. He's got multiple different areas of the world that he occupies, and at any given time, he
Can
yes sir,
I also jump in? He's
yeah.
also a man that said he would come on the Largo podcast and has now gone quiet. Kelly, Big Kel, if you're listening, come on the Largo podcast. We're here waiting for you. If I'm doing it in fucking New Zealand in minus 10 degrees right now, I'm sure you can do it from the comfort of your golf cart in Florida.
Mate, he's in New Zealand right now. I'm not even joking. He did Stab Mike the other day, and he was in New Zealand. So you might have to go
I'll,
and track him down.
I'll go find him. He'll be on one of these green golf courses for sure.
But yeah, so basically, Stab had the task of trying to put together a project with Kelly Slater, which, from all reports, is quite a difficult thing to do. They did the best with what they had and the conditions they had in front of them, and I guess the time they had as well. But the only thing that was a little bit like disappointing was just the lack of consistency among his testing of the surfboards. It was very sporadic. It was, I'm going to ride this board as a quad. I'm going to ride this board as a thruster. There was no like dual testing, like, there might have been one or two boards that got a run of each, but for the most part, it was kind of just his vibe on the day. The conditions weren't amazing as well. Trying to surf snapper for just in general is a task in itself, let alone trying to test boards out there and trying to get enough quality waves to actually feel how a board goes. That's another sort of hurdle they had to work with. So I guess to get out what they got was great. I don't know how satisfied the viewers are going to be with the end result. Because it was essentially Dan Mann, who is employed by Slater Designs. He takes the win there, but also just like call it like the scientific process that they use. There wasn't a lot of controlled variables, a lot of different things happening that maybe weren't giving each board a fair run.
Sorry, I had you on mute because there's people using the communal kitchen all around me. Yeah, a good point. And I find it interesting. One, I feel like if Brit or DH or whoever won, there was going to be additional board sales to that person because he said this is the best board. But I just don't see anyone else going or any new customers coming to Firewire after this. It's kind of like, so it's almost like it was like, yeah, you were saying it's Dan the Man's to lose here, but he had nothing to gain. Well, that's what exactly you're saying. So it's almost like should have carved him out at the start and just made it and threw in JS. That's probably what should have happened. But again, there's a lot of contractual things there that probably don't allow for that to happen and whatnot. So yeah, tricky road to navigate, but Stab did well. Bravo, Stab.
Yeah, and they've also, just to pitch in there as well, they've got another one coming, which I believe he's already been announced. Ethan Ewing is going to be rolling out the board reviews or the board testing process coming up in the next few months. So I'm very excited to watch that. And it seems like they did it on location somewhere too, which is going to be even better because there's going to be quality waves ridden. There's going to be plenty of waves on each surfboard in highly surfable conditions. So very excited for that one to come out.
Yeah, and a little bit of a it's not even a spoiler, but something to look forward to is from Stab. It was the best they've ever seen Ethan Ewing surf, and the most they've heard him speak. So this is going to be an incredible one coming because not many people get those like deep insights into Ethan, and he's a pretty reserved bloke. So this is just going to be a full series of him doing all the talking and surfing, incredible waves and surfing perhaps the best he's ever surfed. So that'll be pretty mental.
Yeah, pumped for that. I think there's a few more questions on Stab in the Dark later on, which we can cover if we haven't already. We can circle back to it. Let's move on to the next part of the pod, and it's the new Challenger Series schedule that just got announced. A lot to digest.
Do you want to know my first initial thoughts?
Yeah, I do.
It's the same as Dan Mann.
Yeah. Like 5 locations announced officially. We got Bolito, we got Huntington, South Sebastião. I've butchered that, but it's not Saquarema anymore. Then Ericeira and Newcastle. So 4 venues we've seen before. One that's new. A quick Google search showed me that it looks like a pretty fun beachy. So keen to watch that. But I am hearing reports of maybe 1 or 2 venues that are yet to be announced. So just keep your ears pricked for that one. There is one notable omission though, Zach, and that is the Pipeline event. Thoughts on that?
I don't know. Like you said, I feel like there's more to come on this. They just haven't been able to get that green light from the sponsor, like the ink on the paper. There's probably a contract there sitting on some tourism board's desk. Because we can go into it later, but 5 locations is not a lot of room for an injury or a shit result to not matter.
Yeah. It's one as well that if you get one good result, it can pretty well lock you in. If you win an event, it's not much chance of you not qualifying, you know what I mean? Which I guess is a good thing for the person who wins an event. But like you said, it doesn't really let you showcase someone surfing over multiple different locations and have the most consistent and best surfers at the end of the day qualifying, you know?
Perfect for Sally Fitz and Yolanda Hopkins. Um, yeah, these locations, I don't know, it's just starting to get a little boring, if you ask me. Like, they've been around for a while and they're all pretty 6 out of 5 sorry, 6 out of 10, if you
Yeah.
ask me.
Yeah.
Lido, again, backwash. Huntington, small and cold. Well, it won't be cold, but like somewhat cold. I don't know about the Sakurema one, but my guess is it's got backwash too. Irasira has always been hit and miss, and Nui is pretty well. I don't mean to be patriotic here, but it's probably the best on the on the list that we're running with there. I just find it boring now. I don't know. I'm not saying that the waves. Sorry, I'm not going to say that the surfing's going to be boring. I understand well and truly that these places can get good, but it's more just like there is thousands of places that you could potentially go. So why don't they start looking there? I don't know. Maybe it's just like a 5-year contract or whatever, but it kind of just seems to roll around year on year. And it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It does just seem like the same old cereal that you've been eating every morning for breakfast before work, you know, but it does work. They're consistent. They always get waves. There's reasons for each of them. Huntington obviously has to stay for the financial, I guess, incentives of that event. But there's supposedly a regional QS 6000 that's going to replace the pipe event, which I find quite funny because this year's Challenger Series event was pretty much a regional QS with the amount of locals that were in it. So that's basically what I mean. It's good for their region because it makes sense to have a high ranking points event at Pipeline. It's the pinnacle of surfing and it's right in their region. So why not utilize it? Just pretty spill and it's gone. And the fact that no similar wave has been added, I feel like it's a bit of a problem because all of those Challenger Series guys and girls this year completely nailed it. There was no it was one of the better highlight reels that we've seen, you know, and there was plenty of excellent range scores going down. They all stepped up to the task, and I feel like they've proven that they need to have an event like that on the Challenger Series just to test them even further, rather than just doing it all in beaches and sort of fat right hand point breaks.
Yeah, I agree. There has to be one or two waves of consequence in there. I get like that what you're saying about Huntington. It's the it keeps the lights on for the WSL, but you gotta start eventually breaking away from just the same hop, skip, jump kind of waves. And I know like all these waves on their day can be amazing, but statistically speaking, it's not going to be. So it'd be good to start to see like some slabs in there or, like the old days with the O'Neill Cold Water Classics over in Chile and things like that, just somewhere with a little bit more substance to it so that you can really push these up and comers and you kind of see who's the boys from the men and who's the women from the girls. Because right now it's like Fluffy Duffy, hey, everything's all lovey dovey. And then smack bang into pipeline chopes and cloud break on the big boy league. There's not really much of there's two completely conflicting tours, if you ask me. So, but this is the age old debate. We've been harping on about it for a year now, and it's clear to see now. It's not changing. So yeah, it's you summed it up perfectly. It's just like the crunchy nut cereal that is just there every day. Add your milk, smash it down, go to school.
Yeah, and then to add to that, Zach, I don't know if you're across this, but it's now been announced that Challenger Series surfers are able to go and compete in a select few international QS events, which include one in Brazil, one at Cloud9, and one at Taiwan. Which the latter of those three, the latter two of those three, Cloud9 and Taiwan, are actually on the QS, the Australian Regional QS Series. So now it's looking like we're going to have a heap of Challenger Series surfers coming and doing these events because their points will actually count towards their Challenger Series campaign. So if they come in the QS 6000 at Cloud9, they will get 6,000 points added to their Challenger Series total. It's it's starting to get a little bit messy, if you ask me. It feels like we've got 1 foot in the new regional system and 1 foot in the old QS system that they used to have, where it was kind of just go around the world, travel, and get your points, and whoever finishes highest at the end of the year qualifies. It's kind of like we're in both camps right now, and I just really feel for the poor battlers who are competing in the Australasian region, who are going to have to cop Changa surfers at the events where the most points are on offer.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's starting to get a little bit cross-blended across all tours, and I've just recently started saying pretty confidently to some crew, the Pro Junior Series in Australia, I don't know about the others, is a complete and utter waste of time and money, if you ask me. If you're listening and you're trying to figure out if you want to do the Pro Junior Series, I would say no, because all these Pro Juniors I've seen, you've got like Dane Henry in it, who is on the Challengers now. So he's a league, 2 leagues above. So I don't know why he's doing it. And then you've got, I saw a heat in Newcastle and it was like some 14-year-old Grom from somewhere. And I'm like, okay, so he's surfing like way up. He should be thinking about the Oki Grom comp and all that kind of stuff. And I just looked at it and it was just this mashed potato of all these different types of surfers. And you look at like Phillip Island. I'm sure you could go through Phillip Island, the Pro Junior, 99% of those Pro Junior surfers were in the QS and they make up most of the field. So it is a complete and utter waste. Like, why spend the time and money on the Pro Juniors? I think WSL will really have to address the Pro Juniors soon because it is just an absolute mess. You've got Dane Henry, 14-year-old Grom. No one really knows which one to do. It's completely confusing. And to your point there with the QS 6,000, yeah, it's just the Challenger Series. It's gonna be that. And the only reason I can see why they're doing this is I would have to assume that bigger names bring eyeballs to the event. So they're just trying to get these events and get the best bang for buck through broadcasts, viewerships, and I don't know, even all the assets out of it. That, you know, if you've got good surfers, there's going to be good Instagram hypes and whatever. Reels and hype up on social media. So yeah, I don't know. It's just a bit. It feels like it's going in the right direction, feeling, but it still feels messy. I'm just not really. I'm pretty happy with where the tour is right now. Kind of feels like they're trying to test the waters here for everything below the tour, and it feels like it's going the right way. But yeah, there's work to do.
It's almost like Dane and that are just using these Pro Juniors as like a warm-up event for them to go and do the QS and the Challenger Series. Like, if you're looking to make a career out of surfing, like the Pro Juniors aren't really going to do much for you at all. Like that.
Can I just add, if you win a Pro Junior, I think it's like $1,500.
Yeah.
I don't even think that would even fly down to Phillip Island. What is it to get into a comp? Like $200 Aussie?
Yeah, well, probably, yeah, it used to be 150 or something like that when I was doing them.
Membership, that's probably what that used to be, like fucking like $1,000, isn't it? For the membership for the year.
Oh, it's not that much. You can get a membership which covers you for the QS and for Pro Juniors, I'm pretty sure, and it's like a few $100s. It's not crazy, especially if you're doing all of them, which a lot of these guys do. So it works out. If you're doing a lot of events, it works out cheaper. But you're right in saying that you're not, even if you win the thing, and you have to do a hell of a lot to win these things, considering the talent that's in it. Like, you're not covering your costs. You're losing money each time, unless it's the skull candy and like for Harry O'Brien, he rolls down, pretty much can roll here from his bed in Scanners and surf it, or Ken and Chris, that's perfect. They can do that. It's pretty much, if they do really well, then that money's going in their back pocket, But for people that are flying from all sorts of different places to do these things, it's a loss. It's a financial loss each time.
Yeah, and I think it's okay to do a financial loss if there's a goal there, like the QS. But for me, like, the only logical explanation to do the Pro Junior Series as they currently stand is to win the WSL World Junior, so that you can get onto the Challenger Series. But back to what I was saying before, half of the QS is the Pro Juniors, so you're pretty much just better off doing the QS. In theory, it's perhaps easier because there's more opportunity to get a spot onto the Challengers. So yeah, in a roundabout way, it is a complete and utter waste of time unless you get that win at ISA, if you ask me. Sorry, not ISA, WSL World Juniors.
I will say though, as well, I feel like back to my comments before, it's a good, obviously, if you love competing and you just want to do it and you're not trying to be a pro surfer or whatever, like obviously do them because they're really fun. You get to go down there, all your mates are there. It's a good environment to be in. I think the main positive that you can take from this if you're a surfer is if you're one of these sort of 14 to 16-year-old super groms that are coming through right now, and like your Ocean Lancasters or someone like that who's coming through the rankings, and they get to actually go and verse guys like Lennox Smith and Dane Henry, and get some runs on the board against really high caliber surfers before they then head into the QSs. I can see an argument for that there. But beyond sort of 17, these guys are all looking to qualify, or most of them are. Like there's guys qualifying for the tour at 18. So beyond that, maybe they just need to go back to the old under 18s way of being and run it that way, because that seems to make more sense as it stands now.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really feel bad for saying, like, ragging on it and saying, nah, she's fucked, don't do it, but not supply an alternative. I think if you're someone that is 15, probably 14 even, to 18, the best investment that you've got is going on surf trips. Go to South Oz and throw yourself over a fucking shallow reef. Go to Cloudbreak and do the same. That is the best investment. Going on Pro Junior and spending $3,000. It's just such bad ROI, if you ask me.
Yeah, Woody's wise words there. Go on a
Yeah, they're not
trip.
even my words. Go and listen to our podcast that we did with James Wood. He's obviously worked with an incredible plethora of athletes, and he said the exact same thing. Like, if you want to invest in your surfing, sometimes wearing a rash is not the way. It helps, it can help, but yeah, sometimes it's more suitable to just go and have fun elsewhere. It probably accelerates your career.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll move on from that then. This is kind of the bulk of the podcast here, which is Merewether. We're moving into the last Challenger Series event of the season. This is where we're going to find out who our top seeded surfers are on the Challenger Series that are going to make it onto the tour for this year. Couple of points straight off the bat. There's no CT surfers in the draw, Zach.
Kind of frothing. But it goes to show, like, if it was Snapper, there'd be the Snapper's pumping right now, like it has been for the last couple of weeks. There'd be so many in it. So maybe everyone's just like, Merewether, yeah, it could be fun. But I don't think it's going to be like the first event last year. I'll sit this one out. I reckon that's why. I don't think it's like a money or a points thing. It's just CT surfers want to surf good waves with two or three or three other surfers out. So that's my reasoning, I reckon.
Yeah. Do you think anyone listened to our carousel that we posted of Connor saying that he doesn't believe in it?
Yeah, fucking oath. Everyone replied to that. I think Yago jumped on, Toledo jumped on, Leo. Our message definitely reached the top for that one. So it might be a bit awkward at Bells, and now it's like, you commented on the Largo podcast fucking thing saying don't do it. And I'd like to be a fly on the wall in the changing room.
Making waves. Second point, Julian's back.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't know what he's going to do at this point. He's going to have to win, and everyone else is going to have to die, right? Like, for him to qualify.
I don't think that would work. I don't think he'd make it. I think I feel like he's just doing it because it's in his backyard, and he may as well do it because he got given a sum of wildcards to use this year, and he's probably got one left. So that makes sense for him to be in it. I just thought I'd point it out because I saw him in the entry list. And then
Sorry to jump in.
Yeah.
I don't think we announced why he didn't do the Challenger Series, did we? Because we had a lot of people asking.
I think we might have discussed it, but it was just to do with his brand, right?
Yeah, I think it was the whole tariff thing because he had a distributor or a factory or something in the US. Then the tariff thing came and he just went, holy fucking shitballs. I'm going to have to redo everything here. And so he put the qualification storyline on pause and went all in on Revere. So now he's back.
Yeah. The third and final point that I wanted to raise was Lennox Smith is in.
Beagle, he sniffed his way in.
It's going to be a good little warm up for him because he's obviously going to be there in a few months' time when they kick off at Bolito. But yeah, he's found himself in a wild card slot there, so it's going to be cool to see him pressure free, just mixing it up against the world's best. Have you talked to him about it at all?
Yeah, he's pretty keen. But interestingly, he's actually in the ABB, which is the day before this event starts. So he's going to be running up and down that hill probably 10 times and then straight to Merewether. And funnily enough, half his family is in his club heat draw. What's it called? What am I even trying to say here? Fuck. Half of his family, his dad and his brother, are in his team. Sorry. So it's going to be a full Smith affair.
Who does he surf for?
He told me, but I forget.
Illawarra board riders. Yeah, well, it's gonna be cool to see. He's gonna do the double. I think the only other person that's doing the double is George Pitter, from what I've heard. He's gonna surf in the ABB. He's pretty well locked in. We'll get to that right now as well, because before we run into our event picks for Merewether, I've got pretty much all of the qualifying scenarios mapped out and sort of explained here. Now, this could be perceived as a bit of a ramble. I hope this is of interest to some out there, though, because it was pretty interesting to me to sit down today and work it out. And you can kind of refer to this as you're watching the event next week, seeing what people need to do and what they need to achieve to actually get into that top 10 on the men's side and top like 6 or whatever it is on the ladies' side. So we'll run into the ladies first. So the top 4, they're already locked in. Yolanda Hopkins, Tia Zabrowski, Sally Fitz, Francisca Veselko. They're all solidified. They cannot fall out of the top 7. It is on the ladies' side. 24,500 is currently the cutoff in terms of points. So Francisca's in 4th. That's what point she has, and that is got her safe and sound. So it'll probably be less than this for the rest of the girls that are trying to qualify. But right now, that's the number. I'm going to base a few of these thoughts off of that number. So starting in at 5th place, Nadia Aristabe. She's sitting on 21,665 points. A 9th place will improve her positioning, and it'll get her in a really good spot to lock up qualification. She's currently holding a 25th, which is 1,700 points. 2 heat progressions here will be enough to better that. And even if she doesn't improve, she probably will still be okay considering the gap between her and 6th. So I think she'll be at Bells. In at 6th place, Alyssa Spencer. And we'll see this a bit when we get into the men's. She's going to be hurt by her own consistency this year. Her worst counting result is currently a 13th, which is 3,120 points. So she's going to have to throw that away if she wants to better her position. So for her to improve, she's going to need to make the round of 16. But to see any considerable movement, she's going to have to break into the quarters. So to reach that 24,500 safe spot, she's going to need a win, but a semi-final here should be enough to lock her in. I think she deserves to be on tour. She's a really good surfer. I just think her position and her consistency might cruel her in that she basically needs a quarterfinal finish to even start improving on her points. And if we go down to 7th, Annette, she's just behind her on the points tally. And even though she's a spot lower, she's actually in a better position than Alyssa because she's only got a first round knockout, which is 700 points. As soon as Annette makes one heat, she'll overtake Alyssa. So you pretty much can, unless Annette has a melt and loses first round, you pretty much can swap those two and have Alyssa in at 7th. And she's basically in the hot seat to qualify. She's going to have to actually start bettering some results because there's one Israeli surfer that's coming up who has kind of got herself in a little spot here to overtake her. We'll get to her though. So there's your top 7. In at 8th, Laura Raup. She's on 17,745, but she's going to need to do a lot here also because she's been really consistent. If Annette doesn't improve, Laura needs a ninth, which is 2 heat progressions. In order to reach Alyssa, assuming she also doesn't improve, she needs to make the quarters. It's highly possible, but I don't think this is going to be Laura's year. I think ninth place, Annette Laylor, or whatever her name is, Lelior, on 17,690 points is the real danger for mostly Alyssa, assuming Annette makes her first heat. She's currently carrying that really low 700 point result. So if she makes 2 heats here, she's going to get a ninth and she's going to overtake Alyssa unless Alyssa makes the quarters. I'm personally going to back in Alyssa's talent here to just get her the result she needs. I think she's going to do enough, and I think she's actually going to have a really good finish here. But it's highly possible that if she does lose early, we're going to have an Israeli surfer on tour next year.
Yep, that's a great breakdown. Thank you, Finley. Very analytical as always. I hope Annette gets in out of all those people that you just said. Well, I know you're going to get to it, but I think there's a few Aussies that could maybe do it if the stars aligned. But out of the more hopeful bunch, I feel like she's probably the most spicy. The Nadia, I'm scarred, mate. Her first year on tour as what was it, a wild card?
Yeah, some setup happened there, but yeah.
It was pretty bad. It was like considerably bad. I don't think there's been a worse debut. I don't think she made a heat, did she?
I'd have to check that. I'm not sure. Her backhand actually is really good. I saw a video of her surfing snapper the other day, and it's there. She's got the turns. I'm just thinking maybe she didn't put it together on her time while she was on tour. I think it's basically going to be Nadia's in for me. I think she's just going to hold on. Annette she'll better her low score, and she should move up into sort of 5th or 6th place. It's going to be Alyssa that misses out, if anyone, in my opinion. And if I'm a betting man, and that is going to be the one who's going to steal that off her. We have 10th to 14th position is pretty much make the semifinals and you're a shot. Make the final and you're an even better shot. But this group is made up of India Robinson, Amuro Suzuki, Sophie McCulloch, Teresa Bonvalot, and Kira Pinkerton. And out of this bunch, I think the most likely to win the event or make a really good showing of it here is Kira Pinkerton out of those lot.
Yeah, not a bad shout. I reckon India Robinson could be a bit of a dark horse. I wouldn't count her out at Newey. Kind of suits her surfing.
Yeah. It was more just me seeing Kira at Snapper in the Usher Cup. She was really impressive up there, and I thought she's someone who she finds herself on the right waves. She's going to be pretty hard to beat for anyone to draw. So I can see her getting a really good result here. We'll move on to the men's side because there's a bit more going on here. So we've said in the past the top 6 or 7 we sort of believe to be safe. And I still think this is true, but for the sake of the argument, we're only going to lock in the top 5. So currently locked in, that will mean we have Eli Hanneman, Cowley Vass, George Pittar, Sammy Pupo, Luke Thompson. Those guys will all be at Bells next month. In at 6th place on 20,710 points, Oscar Berry. He's got a low result of 17th, which is 1,900 points. Funnily enough, it was at this event to start the year, so that's been his worst showing so far. Hopefully that's not an indication of things to come for him. For him to improve on this position, he needs to progress into the round of 16, which is 2 heat progressions. His consistency this year, similarly to Alyssa's, and that trend will follow throughout the men's as well, has become a bit of a problem for him as he needs to do a bit of work here to keep his spot. I think he's going to make it, though. He's in 6, which is really nice. He's going to have to drop like 5 positions or whatever it is to actually fall out of the top 10. I don't think that's going to happen for him. And I'm just hoping he just makes a couple of heats and puts it even further out of reach for the guys behind him. Morgan Sibley in at 7th. 19,885 points. His position is better than Oscar's. He's currently carrying a 700-point result, which is pretty much a dead last. If he makes one heat, he's actually going to overtake Oscar on the live rankings, and any extra heats he makes is just going to be icing on top. I think you can pretty much lock him in. So that we kind of have locked them in sort of tentatively before this, but I think they're both really good hopes. This is where it gets a little bit interesting. Eighth position, Mateus Hurdy, 19,460 points. He's a victim of his own consistency. Also, the worst result he currently has is a fourth place in the round of 32, which is about 1,700 points. And when I'm saying this, basically what you need to do when you're working out their results is you essentially minus their worst result, and then you add the points from this last event, which if they better it, beautiful. That's when you start seeing an increase. If they don't, they keep that original result and the last event gets cut. So he's going to need to basically make 2 heats to see any major improvement in his placing. By no means is he safe, although I think the waves will suit him. And if he can handle the pressure of the moment, I really like his chances to beat Bells. Lobby is the Alyssa Spencer of the men's side. So this is a tough one for Lob. That 9th spot he's in is actually, realistically, it's 10th. He's only 10 rankings points away from Mateus, yet his position is way worse. He's been the most consistent out of anyone on the Challenger Series this year. He has to improve on a 9th place, which is 3,320 points. So when you're minusing that result away from his points tally, that's a big chunk gone out of his points tally. So for these guys that only have 700 points, that's good because you're only losing 700 points. Lob's losing nearly 3,500 a year, which sucks. For him to see any improvement in his position, he needs to make the quarterfinals at worst. I bloody hope this bloke makes it. He deserves to be there. His surfing is world class. He's in an awkward position being so close to the cut and having to do so much. And I don't love his chances. And I'll get to that when we talk about Cal's result. So in at 10th place, Jacob Wilcox. He won stop 1 here on the Challenger Series at this very location to begin the year. He's carrying a first round knockout as his counting results still. So 2 ticks there for me. To improve his position, he's going to have to make just 1 heat. And in doing so, he'll actually overtake Lob and Mateus. So he's going to jump 2 spots by making 1 heat until they reach their checkpoints. If Mateus and Lob progress beyond their current result, then that's where it gets interesting. But Jacob makes 1 heat. He's up in the 8th position. I just hope to God he gets this done here because I don't want to see another year where we have Jacob Wilcox on the Challenger Series. He's just too good. I'm hopeful and I think he's going to do it. And it's such a prick of a sport, surfing, and anything can happen. But I'm just going to say yes, he's going to make it. I don't know. Do you want to add any thoughts to any of those guys in the top 10 there? Because there's a bit to go through on the guys below. But what are your thoughts on those guys?
Chippo is equivalent to your word of the day that you had many moons ago, and that is edging. He's just been edging everyone. He's been so close to the fruits of the event that happens after the edging, but has never quite got to the event and solidified his full year at that event. Just been teasing us. That was a roundabout way of saying he's half chub all the time.
He's got one of the worst cases of blue balls we've ever seen.
Yeah, they're almost grey at this point. But yeah, that's actually super interesting. I'm glad you've done the deep dive because I actually didn't know that there's going to be that many overtakes so easily. It's when you see the rankings, you must be like, oh, they have to do so much to get above. But in reality, some of these guys don't have to do much at all. They just have to lift a finger and Bob's your uncle, up they go.
Yeah, and consistency usually is a great thing. But when you get down to the last event and you need a result, that's where it hurts because, like I said before, someone like Lob's going to have to lose to better his position. He's going to have to lose a 3,320 point result, which is already a decent result. If you get an event win and then you back it up with a few of those, you're off to the races, But for him, because he didn't really get that really high ceiling result this year, it's gonna be difficult for him now. Not saying he can't do it though. He's such a good surfer that he could win the event very, very, or not easily, but it wouldn't surprise anyone to see him standing on the podium at the end. This is where it gets interesting. So this is the guys outside the top 10 that are hunting the guys inside the cut. So Cal Robson in 11th. Just a reminder, Chippo's on 18,840 points in at 10th. Cal Robson, he's on 17,620 points. So about a 1,200 point gap there. He's counting a first round knockout. So a 700 point result. Similar to Jacob, he's not going to have to do much to improve here. If he makes 2 heats, so he gets in at around a 16, and any of Jacob, Lob, and Mateus and Morgan, or all of them, if they fail to improve their positions, he will overtake all of them. So basically, the guys ahead, if Cal starts making heats, they have to continue making heats. Otherwise, if they don't better, Cal's going to overtake him. He's in a real strike position here after that pipe win, and I think he's actually short odds to make 2 heats at Nui. He's really good in beachy conditions. He's got a good read on the ocean. I'd be nervous if I was sat inside that cut line, and this is where I think Lob's going to be nervous because he's got Callum breathing down his neck, and it's basically for him, it's keep making heats until Callum loses, and then you've got a bit of breathing room. But I think he could be the guy to replace Lob in that top 10. In 12th position, went to Vincent. So there's a dramatic drop here. It goes all the way down to 14,990 compared to Cal's 17,620. So huge drop off in points. Could be the thing that makes it hard for these next few guys I'm about to list as well. He's been relatively consistent. He's carrying a 1,700 point result, which it's not a good result, but it does still chip into your total when you're taking that away and trying to add points. It's going to hurt his chances a lot. Assuming no one in front of him improves, everyone loses first heat and has a shocker. Winter's still going to need like a semi-final or a quarter. Like I'm pretty sure it's a semi-final to actually break inside the top 10. So for him, it's looking grim. Obviously, an event win here is going to do him a world of good, and if he wins, he's going to have a real sniff at qualifying. But for me, I think next year is going to be Winter's year. I think he can just look at this as a pressure-free event and just put his head down and look up at the end of it. And if he's standing there with a first place trophy, he's going to be on tour next year. So that's basically going to be his goal, I guess. But needs to do a lot. Similarly, to him, Jorgan as well in at 13th. He's got a low result, so he's in a better position than Winter to qualify. He's got that 700 point result, which is he's only got a better. We'll need to make the quarters to jump into the top 10, and that's assuming none of the other guys improve on their objectives. He's going to need to make a final, really, to have a realistic shot at qualifying here. Not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but I don't think this is Jorgan's year. And then basically the next 4, similar to the ladies, they're basically just going to have to win the event to have a sniff. And that's Dimitri Poulos, Levi Slawson, Geordie Lawler, Xavier Huxtable. They all look like they need to win. Unlucky for Levi especially, it's pretty much locked in that he's going to be the next guy to win an event and not qualify for the CT.
Yeah, there's always got to be one though, right?
Yeah.
every lap around the sun we do, there's always one that's just close but no cigar, and that's probably going to be him, unfortunately.
Yeah, it feels that way, doesn't it? So my voice is nearly gone, but that's the breakdown. That's pretty much what everyone's got to do. There's a lot of moving pieces here as people improve and as people make heats. It gets more confusing, but heading into the event, that's pretty much what everyone has to set their eyes on. Now, getting into the actual event itself. So forecast is one thing that we're not very good at. There is kind of an enhanced ability for us here, though, because we actually live on the same coastline. So we kind of have a little bit of an idea of what's going on. You've obviously been in...
I just had a quick look too.
Yeah. Well, you've been in New Zealand, obviously, but you've been keeping your eyes on the Surfline report, as it would seem. But we've actually been graced with a nice run of east swell here for like the last week, and that looks set to continue into the competition window. looks like there's going to be little moments throughout the event of swell and good winds. And I think they're going to have really fun conditions. It doesn't look like it's going to be a crazy all-time swell, but it's going to be more than contestable. And I think for guys like Mateus and that, they'd be rubbing their hands together because this is their sort of meat and potatoes style of surfing. They want to have 2 to 3 foot, light onshore, beach break conditions that they can just go to the skies in. In terms of event picks, my ladies, I've gone the new wave of ladies surfers here. I think they're going to have a real impact on this event. My first pick was Isla Huppets. She's been given a wild card by the looks of into this event. Going to lock her in. Secondly, Tia Zabrowski, and I've gone Kira Pinkerton as well. Predicting that she's going to have a good result. Whether that's enough to get her inside the cut line, I'm not sure, but I think she's going to do well here. And then my dark horse is Eden Waller, and we've talked about her a bit previously. She's the little microgrom from, I think she's from the States, and she's the one that goes and packs huge cones in Mexico and like Central America and stuff. So keen to watch her out here. I think she's had a couple runs before. I don't think her results have been amazing, but I watched some footage of her surfing at Soup Bowls in that recent QS event. She got a really good result there. She may have even won, I'm not sure, but she definitely podiumed and she was ripping. So keen to see her in some little newy bowls. My winner, I'm going to go with Isla Huppets. She just looks like she's on a warpath right now. I don't really foresee too many people being able to stop her here. Who's your picks?
Yeah, that was a good rundown. I do agree. Isla's been on a absolute tangent lately. Obviously, fresh off the I keep saying ISA WSL World Junior win, and then straight into the Burleigh Gold Coast Open QS 4000 win. So, are we going to see the trifecta? Maybe, but I don't think so. Good things have to come to an end. So I've gone with my picks. Tia. I've got Isla in there. I think she's going to go deep into the draw. And then I've gone Annette Gonzalez Extabati, whatever her last name is. Dark horse. You might grill me for this dark horse, but she's sitting quite far down the rankings, further than what I thought she would be. I've gone with Ellie Harrison. She's definitely someone that I feel like could quietly go through this event and wax a lot of crew. So, yeah, Ellie's the dark horse. But I've gone Tia Zabrowski for the win because I just feel like she's had such a strong start of the year. Well, not this year, start of her season, I should say, on the Challenger Series. I just think she's going to round it out and just go out with a big bang and take the W here.
Yeah, and if I can cast your memory back, Zach, to the first event of the year, which would have been probably our first podcast covering a Challenger Series event or even a surfing event for that matter. It was actually this Newcastle event. And remember we had the issue with your mate, Yolanda Hopkins and Ellie Harrison with the score that was highly questionable. Maybe Ellie Harrison.
Don't forget.
Yeah.
That was one of the worst days in surfing.
she might be owed a few karma points here, so maybe that'll play into Ellie's favour as well. On the men's side of things, I've gone Mateus Hurdy. I've gone Morgan Siblick. I've gone Winter Vincent. And my dark horse, I've written Leno Smith. My winner, Mateus, I think it's going to be like for him, first few sketchy heats where he's tripping and he's going, oh my God, that he's going to scrape through though. And then once he actually realizes that he's on, he's going to just let loose. And I think the back half of the draw will just be like a free surf for him. That's my prediction anyway. I think he's going to go very deep into this draw. What about your men's picks?
Okay. Yep. I've gone Morgan, the same as you. I've also gone Leno, the same as you. Been surfing within the last few days and fuck, he's looking dangerous. I've thrown in Jacko Baker, hometown crowd, fresh off a third place at the Gold Coast Open. And that was in waves that everyone probably would have not picked him. He went out there and showed the young bulls that the old bulls still got it. Dark horse, again, it feels so weird saying that he's a dark horse, but he is down in the dumps at the moment in terms of rankings, and I've gone with Arcal. Mm-hmm. Dangerous at home. I just feel like that's why I've got Morgs, Jacko, Arcal in there. These guys are all Aussie battlers finally get to sleep in their own bed and under their own doona. So pretty dangerous. In saying that, I'm going to go with Morgs with the win. I think he's going to be hard to beat.
Love it. All right. Listener Q, Zach. Let's get into him because there's a lot. We've actually made really good time of this. What are we? We're sitting about the hour mark. We're doing okay.
I'm glad you are. I'm sitting out in fucking dark and freezing cold.
Yeah. That's it's good. I like to see this this commitment from you. I love it. All right, listener Q's, I got my phone up. So there's a few there's actually quite a few stab in the dark questions here. First one is from Owen Kilby. Is Matt Bile secretly a serial killer?
Biola's serial killer. It's a wild accusation, Kilby. But sure, he is. Yes.
I think in particular it's in reference to, and I've referenced it previously, how intimidating the man is wearing aviator sunglasses indoors in a
Can
dark.
I just say aviators just doesn't work on anyone.
Well, mate, there's that one particular scene in Stab in the Dark where Sam's in his office or in his workspace, and he's actually showing him the episode and how the board's going, and he looks like he wants to kill him. Sam's talking to him, and he's just going, "Why are you showing me this?" And it was like I was watching it through the screen, just going, "Oh my god, I can't think of anything else like worse than being in the room with him at that moment." So yes, he may be. I'm not sure. He does make a really good surfboard though, so I think we let him just keep doing what he's doing.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be inviting him to my birthday party. I'd
No.
love a surfboard off him. So I hope this doesn't ruin my chances of a 50% off discount code. But yeah, don't know. Seems a bit, sun gun on there. Yeah.
Do you reckon DH would have won if he made the Juliet for Kelly?
Fucking oath, mate. Fucking oath. Not a fucking doubt in my mind. If I'm surfing the way I'm surfing, it's because of that DHD.
Yeah. My opinion on that is yes, if he rode it at D-Bar when it was good. If he was deciding it in the waves that he did it, pretty lumpy snapper and fat, I probably wouldn't have had him picking it as a winner. But in good waves, there was every chance to take it out. Who's the pick for the win at Newey? We kind of went through that. DHD, Juliet, or JS Forget Me Not 3. Zach, I think we know the answer to that. We can probably skim over that. It's going to be Juliet.
Yes, sir.
If you got given one of the Stab in the Dark X boards, which one would you choose?
I'm going to go with none of them.
Personally, for me, the Merrick looked magic. The first wave he caught on that thing at D-Bar was nearly as good a surfing I've seen him do in quite a long time.
But Finley, how's it going to feel under your feet? And the reason I said none of them, I don't ride those tails. I do not like riding quads. I do not like having a 5-fin setup applicable, we'll call it. There's so many things I don't like about these boards, and Slater rides them the way he likes them, and that's why he's the GOAT. But there's zero chance I'm ordering what these surfboards look like. So for me, zilch.
It's a great point. I personally, if I had to ride one every day, like none of them, but if I had to pick one from the test to ride, it'd be the Merrick. It looked really good. Jay Rockcliffe, did you notice when Dan Mann pulled out the board? Well, this is right up your alley. This is conspiracy central. Did you notice when Dan Mann pulled out the board at the end, it was a freshie with no pad or wax? I didn't notice this, and might have to go back and check the tapes here. I don't want to put out any false accusations, but didn't notice that. Crazy.
I'll go back through. I'll put my tinfoil hat on, see if there's any like radio waves that get in, and we'll report back.
Yeah, that's crazy. Jason, do you think they should put a barrel / heavier wave on the Changas? Yeah, we definitely do. Boot coaching. What board actually won Stab in the Dark? For me, like I said before, it's the Merrick. I think the Merrick was the best looking surfboard. I think what happened was Kelly was so happy with the Firelight because it felt exactly like his normal surfboards. That he went, oh, that's the best one for me. The other thing I found with the actual testing process was that it wasn't necessarily like him doing the best surfing on that board. It was like he had that feeling that he wanted, and it didn't matter if like he got a bit boggy on a turn or something. The board did what he wanted it to do, and I think that's what he was looking for more than anything. The Merrick and the Mayhem looked probably head and shoulders above the rest, but I think it was more the sensation and the look that Kelly was after, and I guess that's probably why he left Merrick in the first place to go and ride Firewise. You know, he must have liked the sensation that he got from riding him, so it completely makes sense there. What Challenger surfer? What Challenger surfer would you like to see on the CT? And I'm guessing this is just opening it up to everyone. If you could pick one wild card from the whole draw, who's it going to be?
Morgs.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I'm going to go. I had to surf with Taro Watanabe at the point. I didn't surf with him, but he was out there. He was surfing when I was out there and came down Surf Lennox Point, and he's a great fella, and he was absolutely tearing the joint up. And I know all these Challenger Series surfers do tear the joint up, but he was especially impressive. And he's not that. He's actually in the top 20. I had a look afterwards, but he's not really in a zone to qualify. But I'd love to see him get there eventually. Reclaim Surf, Changa. This is 2 steps back and 1 step forward this year. Yeah, I agree. A couple of just remarks here, Dingo. Changa's schedule sucks ass.
Correct.
Zane Rogers, Aussie QS surfers, effing elite. Finals day will be a movie. It was pretty sick. Like for the waves they got, it was good. It was really good. When will be the next time we see a different board setup other than a thruster win an event? That's from Tommy Illingworth.
If it ain't broken, don't fix it.
Yeah, I think the answer to that question is when the waves are pumping it cloudy and someone rides a quad. I feel like that'll be the answer to that.
Well, someone actually challenged this notion, and that is Josh Kerr, who wanted to ride a 20 at every single one of his Challenger Series events. And maybe go ask him how it went. It clearly didn't work.
Yeah, well, although a bit of a scare at the first event. Remember when he made a few heats? We were going, oh no.
Yeah, and that was actually a time when I was like, there's no way he's on a 20, and he walked up the beach and he's on a 20. I was like, oh, fuck, I might start eating my own hat.
Yeah. What the F was Kobe Clements doing? You saw that on our Instagram. That was stupid.
That was, I don't even, what would you even call that? Candlestick? I don't know. It's like a video game air. That was a video game air.
Spindle flip, which is Matt Miola's move. So he actually he commented on the post. He was all for it. We also had, funnily enough, Valentino Giselli comment on it, who was just in the Winter Olympics, and he threw his 2 cents in, which is he's called it a front rodeo axis, which I'm assuming is the snowboarding phraseology for that move. But
Sure.
cool to see a couple of different opinions on the move there, and we probably need to come up with some sort of system to actually get the terminology right, because we're all at sea. It's like a war going on between skaters and surfers and snowboarders about what different things are called. Okay, next question is from Nick Wiggs. I feel like I've butchered that as well, but he's got a cracker here. Stab in the Dark felt like an episode of The Bachelor, but you're not single and your girlfriend is on the panel with a gun.
Oh, that's a very good way to put it. Yeah, it was a very dangerous, touchy subject, which even Slater talks about throughout it. It's like, I think he talks about it on the Stab Mike episode where he's just like, yeah, it's like he's surrounded by blades, doesn't know which way to go.
That's it. That's a great take there. And then we had another one from Crowther, 1978. Should they have canned the whole Stab in the Dark X given the outcome?
Nah. Like I said, the outcome is a bit bogus, but so much good came from it. So run it.
And I feel like as well, it's sort of commendable that they did run with it, because they knew damn well that they were going to cop criticism from this, and they have. But the fact they went out of their way to go and get further interviews, go and see the shapers and conduct, you basically get their reaction to the result was really commendable on their behalf. Little Nickers, North Hampshire. What would be your ideal Challenger Series schedule? I can't remember. We did an episode on this, and I can't remember off the top of my head with what we said, but it definitely involved a few waves of truth,
Mm.
and it was, it was. I think it maybe involves like a couple in, maybe one in Bali or something. Like, can't remember, but
Karamis. I think it was Karamis, Narrabeen, stuff like that.
yeah. So there was some really high quality waves in there. Off the top of our heads, like we'd have to, when we did that, we sat down and mapped out the ideal dates and surf seasons at each venue. We couldn't really do that off the top of our heads now, but there is an episode in the archive somewhere where we talked about this. Then let's go. There's a couple of DMs as well. So, who's the most influential and important three-time men's world champ? Andy Irons, Mick, John, Medina, and that's in relation to their contributions to surfing. It's a great question.
Also different. Andy's always going to be a hard one because he was at the peak of sport, and then obviously it was cut short tragically. So there's always going to be a bit of emphasis and discussion around that. Medina did so much for Brazil. He was the first one to illustrate that Brazilians have big cojones and actually can go big waves, as well as all the aerials and things. And then John is just the kid that was unstoppable.
Yeah.
Fuck, I don't know. Like, I think John displays that you can be the most humble man ever and still be the best. Like, sometimes there's this stigma in sport, not just surfing, but all sport, that you have to be a bit of a cunt to make it to the top. And sometimes you do. There's definitely aspects where you have to have that, but it doesn't have to be like a trait. It can just be a moment in time, and that's John. I think AI is probably the answer, though.
I think you can genuinely make a very compelling case for every single one of them. I think I'm with you in saying AI just based on his legacy that's continued to basically reign over surfing, and you can't really mention the top 10 surfers or the top 5 surfers even of all time without his name being in there, and I feel like that'll be the same for eternity, really. I feel like it also depends, though, where you are in the world. Like Medina in Brazil, if you're a Brazilian, Medina's going to be your god. He's the first Brazilian world champion. He has done so much for the sport in that part of the world, and while he kind of was known for that bit of a mongrel at the sort of characteristic at the start of his career, he's since sort of toned it down a little bit, and he's actually a really lovable guy now as well, similar to John. John's probably the best surfer to ever walk the face of the earth. I feel like that if you're looking at contribution in terms of ability, then it's him. And then Mick's just the, like, obviously ultimate professional business mogul who's just left his surf career and actually had probably a more successful business career after his actual career. So you genuinely can make a solid argument for all of them, but to avoid being shot, I'm going to just say Andy Irons because there'll be people coming for us in the comments if we don't run with him. So we'll lock that in.
If you're going off body count, it's definitely Medina.
Yes, yeah. I think you're right there. I think he'd be topping that quite easily. But yeah, Zach, I think really I'm just going through the DMs. There was a couple in the DMs, but I can't seem to find any. I think that's really all we've got. I don't know if you've got anything to add to tonight's podcast affairs. Is there anything that you want to get off your chest?
Nah, mate. No, I'm
No,
they're turning the lights out on me here, so I think it's time to wrap up.
that seems like a nice conclusion. You get shut out with the lights, you get kicked out of the pub, and we all get to go home and go to bed. So hopefully everyone at home listening, that audio's been okay. I'll do my best to work my magic with AI and try and sync it all up and get rid of any crickets chirping or cicadas in the background. But yeah, other than that, just thanks everyone for the support recently as well. It's been huge. We're bees off of 10K followers, which is just absurd. We currently in about the mid 9,300s, and we're looking to turn that into 10,000 by the end of the month of March. So thank you everyone for getting behind what we're doing, and we've had a lot of positive comments and a lot of positive DMs and stuff. So really
And we've got
appreciate
some
all.
big news coming, Finley. Big news coming in about 2 weeks. So that we'll share with everyone.
Huge news incoming. So yeah, thank you everyone. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe on whatever you listen to as well. That really helps us out. And we haven't been doing that. We haven't been saying it because it's a bit cringe, and it still feels cringe. But we did notice quite a big uptick in actual people following Spotify last week. So we may continue to do this for a couple more weeks, and we might give you a breather. But yeah, if you can do that, it really helps. And yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for staying up with us, Zach. It's what time is it there? About 11 o'clock now.
10:53, and it is rapidly dropping in the degree department.
Well, he's frozen, so I'm just going to leave it there. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll see you next week.